In this video we deal with teaching reading and writing with young stars. In lower primary, students learn to read and write in their own language, and this affects what they can do in English. Let's start with reading. In the first grade, students need to learn to read in their own language, which is why Young Stars 1 doesn't contain text. The texts are presented through listening, while the pictures in the student's book provide context. The first time students are required to read an English text is at level 2 or 3. Students can read in their own language, but since they are unfamiliar with the English sounds, reading is a slow process. This is why the reading texts in levels 2 and 3 are usually quite short. If students read and listen to the text often enough, they will connect the correct pronunciation to the English words. For this, the animated story with subtitles could be useful. Only when students know how to pronounce the words can you ask them to read the text aloud. In the fourth grade, students know more about the world, can read better and concentrate longer. And this is also reflected in the texts, which are longer and more serious than the previous levels. This is also the right time to put more emphasis on developing reading as a communication skill. Next to the regular comprehension task, you can also find additional questions in the teacher's book, and you could also ask orally. It's still important that students also listen to the text, which is why all texts come with audio. With this age group, writing is usually slow and not particularly liked by the students. When we look at the exercises, we can see that Young Stars 1 doesn't have any writing at all. Levels 2 and 3 have a limited amount, and sometimes students need to write some words or a short sentence. Level 4 contains some more writing, but the amount is still limited. The real writing tasks are presented in the form of projects. In Level 2 you can find them in the cross-curricular lessons and consist of a very straightforward task connected to the topic of the lesson. In Level 3 and 4 you can find them in the workbook. They come with a sample text and some unfinished sentences. The texts in Level 4 are similar, but longer and more complex. The advantage of using projects is that it takes the attention away from boring writing tasks, but we focus more on creating things. The way you can deal with these projects depends on you, your students, and the amount of time you have. They can simply be set as homework, but you can also turn them into multi-lesson projects, allowing personalization and learning more English in an informal setting. Their work could also be put on display for other children to read. Since students are expected to write more, Level 4 also contains writing tips dealing with punctuation and linking words and word order. There are many ways to teach reading and writing to lower primary students, but let's not forget that it's also important to have enjoyable lessons and give the students self-confidence and to motivate them for their language learning journey. If you have any comments, questions or problems connected to language teaching, please contact your local representative, customer support or our teaching experts.